Sabah al khair. Good morning. Islam, shalom, peace. Up having the usual nicotine, caffeine in many forms. It is 7:23. And boot up the old trusty Mac there. Still running OS 9. Solid. Got the old Digi01 S2000, the S900, the MPC 2000 XL, and the new Mark, just for pulling samples and listening to old records. And my favorite of the bunch, the EPS Classic. That joint's got the 4-time expand on it. Let's see. The MP has only 16 megs in it. I try to limit myself. So does the S2000. 900 is non-expandable. Still got the 750 KB in it. And then my monitors, the BX5s on a nice Orlex mopads or whatever. Bottom end is real defined now, tight, focused. Got them angled. Did the whole tape measure thing to set up my listening environment to form an equilateral triangle with my head in my listening position. I'll do a video to show y'all how to do that too. And that, for you Mac Pro and Intel Apple people, that's the old startup screen. I use the cinema display for my main display. And so PC monitor is a secondary display. I usually edit my samples on this screen, or either have the mix window in like Pro Tools on this one, and have the edit window on this one, because it's a bit bigger and I can get in and see where I want to make edits. But let me show you how I rock the S2000 in OS 9 using the KAI's program Mesa to control and send samples from the Mac to the S2000 and vice versa. And also do MIDI sample dumps from the MPC to the Mac and vice versa. And also from the EPS to the Mac and vice versa. So let me go to that. Back. Now the first thing you want to do is power up the S2000 after you made your connections, and I'll go over that in another video. Your connections consist of your audio connections, your SCSI connection to the Mac, and your MIDI connections to your sequencer. In this case, it's the MPC. Real briefly, there's a DB25 SCSI cable connected to the back of the S2000. The SCSI card that I have in the Mac, the port on it, the external port, is an HD50 or SCSI 2 connector. So the cable reflects that. It's DB25 on one end and it's HD50 on the other end. You make that connection. As far as audio connections, I have the S2000's stereo outs going into inputs 3 and 4 on the Digi01. MIDI connections, I have the MIDI out B going from the MPC into the MIDI in on the S2000, and then from the S2000 I have the MIDI through going to the MIDI in on the S900, so that way I can control the S2000 and the S900 all from the MPC's port B, MIDI port B. Okay, so the first thing I do is I make sure the S2000 is booted up before I turn on the Mac. And it's booted up, and you can see I have a template that says EPS template, and that's a 61 key group program that I made some time ago when I was just rocking the S2000 and the EPS. And the key group is set up like this, where each key can have a different sound on it, okay, all across the 61 keys, and it's set up that way in the S2000. The EPS isn't powered on. The EPS is actually connected to the MIDI in A of the MPC, and also to the out A of the MPC, so it's kind of like handshaking with the MPC, so I can control the EPS from the MPC by hitting the pads and playing the sounds that are in the EPS, or I can use the EPS to trigger the sounds in the MPC or the sounds that are in the 2000 or the 900. I can use it sort of like a master keyboard and a sampler. Okay, so once you have the S2000 booted up and then you boot your Mac up, the next thing I do is I load up my program that I set up, sort of like the EPS template for the S2000, but on the MPC, I don't know if you can see that, it's a program that I call default program, and it's a chromatic program where on the MPC, bank A, pad 1 is assigned MIDI note number 36, which is the same as C1, which is here on the EPS. And then it goes up in half-step increments, and there's 61 keys here. But on the MPC, you have 16 times 4, which is 64. So by doing it chromatically, I have the entire range of the EPS plus 3 left over once I get to bank D. So it starts at pad A, or bank A, pad 1 is MIDI note number 36, which is the same as C1. Pad 2 would be MIDI note number 37, which is the same as C sharp 2, which is going up a half step. For those of you who don't know about music notation, I guess, and music theory, learn about intervals. A lot of stuff on YouTube for that. But yeah, it goes up in increments, 61 keys, and it ends here, which is in bank D. And those 3 are just left, the extras. Okay, so I load up my default program, which is a chromatic program. I load that up. Then I go to see if we can get that to show up, the main screen of the MPC, track 1, and change the track type to MIDI and go to channel 1B, because remember the card racks are connected to the MIDI out port B of the MPC. So now that's on channel 1B, and when I hit the key on the MPC, you can see that there's MIDI activity because that light is moving. Okay, so we're good there. Okay, so the next thing I do is give me some more coffee while you're standing here watching me film my Hollywood masterpiece. The next thing I do is I go ahead and fire up Pro Tools, and I do that so we can monitor the audio, what's in the samplers. There's nothing in them right now, Let me just reach around here and turn this on too so we can hear. It's early, so I'm going to keep it down because my neighbors be asleep. Some of them don't have jobs and they sleep all day, so I'm going to try to keep it low. I pray for them though, because it's real out here though. So let me open up a session where I got it set up where we can at least listen to it.